Good evening. It's Monday, so let's mint mask. As the sun begins to set on this Memorial Day, I wanted to spend our time together sharing a few thoughts about Memorial Day. You know, Memorial Day is often misunderstood. For some, it's another opportunity for a sale. For some, it's just a third day to a 2 day weekend. But Memorial Day is something very special and very hallowed. And in this day and age when we have so many divisions in our nation, I would like to share with you a couple of thoughts to help perhaps draw us closer together over this special day, Memorial Day. You see, Memorial Day is often underappreciated because so many of us have had the privilege of not knowing one of our military personnel who have given the full and final measure. I think of my Uncle Duke, who served in the Korean War. He was a sailor, and during his duty in the Gulf of Tonkin, I think is the way it's pronounced, his ship was shot out from underneath him, and many of his crewmen were lost. And I think of my uncle, who on this Memorial Day, it's not just a day on a calendar, it's a name, and it's a face, and it's a story. You see, Memorial Day becomes more personal to us when we have a name to apply to the holiday. And so for Memorial Day to be special and inspirational and humbling, it doesn't have to be that we ourselves have that person, that family member, that friend that we personally know has been lost. It doesn't have to be personal for us to honor and value Memorial Day. And secondly, and equally as important as this, is we don't have to necessarily agree or like the circumstances that led to the loss. There are some events in human history and American history that I don't agree with, and those events cost lives, cost American lives, cost servicemen and women's lives. And I don't necessarily agree with the motivation and the strategy which placed them in harm that took their lives. But you know what? You don't have to agree with that to show proper respect for Memorial Day, because it's not the who, because it's whoever. It's not the where, but I think we all could, if we would just simply try, we could find some very strong and galvanizing high ground if we would simply focus on the why. If you go all the way back to the birth of our nation, men and women have given the last full measure that we might be free and that we might remain free. You see, there's not a person in this day who walks into a recruiting office who doesn't understand that the price of freedom isn't free, and that in going in there and volunteering and taking on the uniform, that price may be called upon. And so as this Memorial Day comes to a close, may we all please just take a moment and find common ground and common appreciation and common value in the why of Memorial Day. Men and women have given their lives that you and I could be free. And we can express that freedom however we see fit. And not only did those individuals give their lives, but on this Memorial Day, let's think of the families. That today isn't just a day on the calendar, and today just isn't another day. Today is a name. today as a loved one, today as a family member, today as a friend. They too deserve our respect and our appreciation because no one sacrifices by themselves. There's always someone else, and perhaps generations of someone else's who sacrifice. So on this Memorial Day, thank you. Thank you to all the people I do not know. Thank you for the sacrifices given. And for you who today does contain a name and a face, a family member, thank you. We will not take it for granted. And we will purpose to make our nation and the future of our nation as bright and as great as we can, because the sacrifice given to us by the person that Memorial Day is to you. I'd like to thank you for your most precious gift, as always, your time. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I hope, Lord willing, we'll have a chance to gather again next week for Mint Mask with a message.